Jeff, we typically start with, straight in with a question with our guest, but we're not going to do that today. We have our guest and Rob Henry. He is with Polar King. We'll do a more of a formal introduction here in a second, but we're going to start with a video. But Polar King and the new product that they brought to the market. If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to want to. Uh, so we're going to be playing a video. This is with one of their customers. And it happens to be our
Yep.
last guest that we had on the podcast
Yeah.
for the full episode.
He
So
he
Matthew Belter.
he made the introduction for us, and we love the video that they put together, and we think you're gonna like it. So it's a short video. It's about 3 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes.
Right.
And so let's take a look
Yeah.
at the Avalanche Air Tow trailer.
Right. Easy for you to say, Jeff. So we're going to show that real quick. We'll be back in just a moment.
Everyone wants to tell you they're going to promise the moon and stars, and then they don't. Polar King and AirTow did. And they were able to provide it in a way that allowed us to provide the customer service that my dad and my brother started when we started the business. Bear Ice Company's been around for approximately 30 years. So we're a full-service ice distribution company serving all of Southern California. We first learned about Polar King and their Avalanche Series trailers by happenstance, right? We were driving down a freeway. We saw a trailer that was going by. It was an air tow trailer. We understood the type of technology that it had. And we felt, hey, we should reach out to those folks to find out what they're doing in the industry right now that might be able to help serve the needs that we currently have. There's a lot of companies that sell freezer trailers, but there's not a lot of companies that are innovative and trying to figure out ways to help us save time, save energy, and to be able to get to our customers more quickly and efficiently. Our trailers are our lifeblood. We have trailers that are out every single weekend, pretty much 365 days a year. The most important thing for my brother and I is to have something that's durable and that's built in such a way that it's going to take the brunt of the work that we do. What we found with these trailers, first and foremost, the way that these freezer boxes are made, how they're insulated, and how they really reduce the amount of heat that's transferred, kept the ice in the back rock solid all the time. Regardless if it was 5 miles or 500 miles, these things stayed rock solid and cold. The technology that they're using to keep heat transfer to a minimum is game-changing. Second of all, to be able to go and drop this trailer fully to the ground so you can roll in and out of it with whether it's a dolly, a pallet jack, or other types of equipment, there's no other trailer in the industry that's doing this. We're able to walk into our warehouse and we're able to use our electric dolly, and we can dolly in 2-3 pallets of ice immediately into the truck. Where that used to take us 30, 40, 50 minutes to load, if we were having a good day, it takes us 5 or 10 minutes at most. When we get to different clients that we're servicing, Starbucks, McDonald's, Burger King, San Manuel Casino, we're able to pull that trailer right up to the location, drop it down to ground level, and we can dolly that ice right out of the truck and into their ice bins within moments. Here at Bear Ice Company, we have been able to expand our delivery routes and take care of new customers as a result of utilizing this trailer. If I was an owner or a CEO of an ice distributor or something similar in the delivery industry, I would definitely consider these folks because the products that they're putting together are going to last you for the long term.
All right, so we're going to jump in to a question real quick, Rob. So we really enjoyed that video. Again, the production, Matthew did a great job and everything with it. But before
Great.
we come back to that, we do want to ask you a question about, even though you personally don't work directly in the ice manufacturing industry, but you have a family history in it. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So, great question. So, growing up as a child, my father actually managed a ice distribution company for the ownership company that I currently work for Polar King. So, their founder, Vince Tittman, started a ice warehouse, commercial warehousing business, early 70s and 80s. And my father was hired on to manage an ice distribution company called Sparkling Party Ice in the Indiana, I would call it northern Indiana region. So, touched down to Indy a little bit, but mainly the Fort Wayne and up to probably the Michigan state line. It was kind of a pretty competitive business around the time. So, yeah, growing up, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I thought it was the coolest thing when my dad would take me out to the ice distribution warehouse, and we'd be able to see the bags getting bagged and palletized and put back in the warehouse. And then everything from loading them on the loading dock with, skid steers. And, there was times where we've got a couple major festivals here in the Fort Wayne area. It would become such a busy time for him. He'd be driving the refrigerated truck or something home, and I just thought it was a cool thing to hop in there on a Saturday morning with him and go deliver ice to some of the people that some of the customers that still
Right.
needed ice, even though the majority of the business was being handled at some of these local fairs and things. So it was always cool. I just thought it was a cool thing. My dad could drive a truck and deliver ice, and all the people loved to see him coming. And but yeah, growing up around there, I learned how to um, make block ice. I did a lot of that for him on the side. We did a lot of the things that I couldn't drive a tow motor. I was obviously too young, but I always just thought it was cool and fun to learn the business and go upstairs and see the ice merchandiser. Just it was fun. It was always cool, and
Yeah.
I've always been enamored by manufacturing and distribution. So I kind of lucked out, and luckily, as a young child, I would say seeing that, and then growing up through my formative years, teenage years, I fell into a couple jobs with the same ownership group, and here we are today. Put myself through college and have a degree in marketing, and we kind of had a need for that when I graduated. So just kind of took the reins and built out a team here, and um, started with the Polar King's done walk-in coolers and freezers since the early '80s as well, and then we designed this trailer program in uh, 2019, and we kind of just took off to the races with it. So it's been fun. We have a standardized product line, and then had a couple people bring some ideas to us. We're like, yeah, let's go do that. Sounds fun, and that's
Yeah.
where we are.
Jeff, why don't you
So,
introduce our
yeah.
guest for us? And I've got some other questions I want to follow up, and I'm sure Jeff does too.
Yeah. So Rob Henry is the director of marketing for Tipman Affiliated Group, which is the organization that owns Polar King, along with several other businesses. And I'll just mention Rob is pretty active on LinkedIn. So if you are a LinkedIn user, go look for the link in the description for him and connect with him. And that's one way that you can get in touch with him. Um, so so coming back to the trailer a little bit, Rob, if I'm understanding correctly, Polar King manufactures the actual body of the trailer, and you're working with Airtow on the chassis. Tell us about that relationship that you have with Airtow.
Sure. So I would say we started off, like I said, in 2019. Polar King, I mean, everything that we do with Polar King is really structurally related. So I mean, it's the best structure to pair with anything that you're doing, whether it's a walk-in, a refrigerated trailer. It's just a seamless fiberglass design. Um, and when we designed the trailer, the standardized trailer line, we've been manufacturing trailers since I would go back as far as say in the late '80s. So we do the entire trailer chassis structure, and then the only component that we don't do is the refrigeration, but we marry that all together here and sell the finished product through our dealer channel. So once we rolled that out, that's kind of when ideas started to come from some of our dealers and some other industry partners. And we were made an introduction to the Airtow team, and it took a little while for us to get our designs down, but as you can see, we've got a fully functional product, but we call it our Avalanche. Um, there's a little bit of a play on the term there because it does lower to the ground. But that trailer, it just like Matthew saw it on the road and was like, I think I need to have one of those. So
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
it's a super cool technology that Airtow has. There, when we began talking with them, they were owned by the original founding company and founders in California. And during that entire period, there was a transition that they were sold to another company, which luckily it was closer to us. It was right over across the state line in Wapakoneta, Ohio. So we're we're an hour away from their headquarters, and it's just really helped that relationship bloom. But working with those guys and creating this product of, I mean, what I like to call two very very superior premium products: the Airtow trailer that lowers all the way to the ground, and then you partner that with the Polar King structure, and then what we believe is the best refrigeration system for what we're doing with the Govee system. We just feel like we have the most premium product on the market for what we're trying to do.
Mm.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, going back to growing up, and you're no foreigner to the ice manufacturing. You had how much influence, or did you have in helping, even from the engineering, or did you have that, or you came to you and say, "Hey, we already got this, market it for us." What were you able to kind of put your stamp on some of this, having worked in that industry? I mean, obviously, as a very young person.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great thing about of with the Airtow team, and really our group here, our ownership group here gives us, and there's a group of professionals around here, and they give us the autonomy to do what we see fit. And I am very active with the engineering department. Well, they don't always love that from a marketing perspective, right? But you know,
Right.
um, growing up around here, I've known the founders since I was, like I said, a young boy. I knew his character, I knew the principles, I knew what he wanted, and I know what the now the legacy that the boys now have taken over the business. So I know. Um, how they want to take things to market. I know what they want, what they're looking for, and being able to work with them, all the boys, and their father, and learning how he would have done things, or how we could kind of put our stamp on it. It's always fun. So um, we know what we have with the value of the Polar King and the structure, and just being able to work with people on that and convey that message has been really fun.
When I look at the opportunities that you guys now afford somebody with air tow, delivering almost anything, obviously with weight, typically is a young man's game. It's a strong back game, as far as what you got to lift and be able to do that. So as folks get older, men and women, it becomes more and more difficult to be able to do things. I know it's been very popular for the walk-in coolers to be, a floor surface, not popping up or going over a threshold, things of that nature, which there is a small little, lift, or not lift, but
Ramp.
a ramp to get
Yeah.
up into that, as we saw in the video. But what I was going to say is it's opening up, because there's a lot of older folks that want to continue to do that work. But if you're having to pull it off trailers, and you're having to unload everything, it's just to me, it's a game changer for some of these folks that are getting older that still want to be able to be, doing that. And I know a lot of these ice manufacturers, they have a high loyalty to people that's been in working for them for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
So I just see the benefit of that, and that's what impressed me probably the most when I look at that. I was just, as I get older, I'm like, man, that would save my back a ton. So Jeff and I've talked about that being a game changer of what that is. So what was the aha moment for you guys with airtow? I mean, obviously the air assist, all that, but I mean, how big an impact has that made? I know that was a wordy, I don't even know if there was a question in there. Okay, I apologize, but
No, no,
hopefully
I get it.
the statement,
No, no,
you
you,
can
you
talk
you're
to it.
spot on. You're spot on. I get it. I think is multifaceted, really. So I had a couple of dealers that we were selling the trailers through our standardized trailer line, that they're like, "Man, you got to check these guys out. You got to check these." I was like, "All right, I get it," but at the same time, we were really focused on getting our refrigerator trailers on the market. And as you start to peel back a couple layers and things start to move, you're able to slow things down. And when we met with them and their group, and we went over to Wapakoneta and met with them, and I think that's kind of like when you walk in and you see this trailer, and then you start putting it together, right? As an I won't say older person, but
Yeah,
smarter. We're wiser now than we used to be. So
Mature.
seeing a guy run some things up into their trailer with a pallet jack with such ease, and
yeah,
me and one of the owners, Barry, him and I went over there. We're running things in and out of this trailer with pallet jack. Like, we look at each other like, oh man, do we get this now? Like, it totally makes sense. But at the
yeah,
time, we're still a little new to it. But then you start talking to people, like, yeah, just think about how quick, how much quicker you could load, palletized ice. You don't have to hand load every single bag and restack them on the pallets and all this stuff. So Matthew was great and instrumental in that, especially on the ice side. Um, so the labor alone, that light bulb, as that light bulb's going off,
Yeah.
we start working with a few more people in a couple other industries, and a little bit more predominantly on the female side, right? And they start explaining the benefits of being able to treat the trailer more as a walk-in and walk right into it, and
Yeah.
not to step down with 2 or 3 cases of food product for a school or for like school lunch program. And then it's just like, oh man, does this thing change a lot of people's perspective?
Yeah.
And it's multi-industry, you know. So I think it was kind of multifaceted there on the different light bulbs, but they're continuing to go off, you know, the more people we introduce this product to. So um super cool. I mean, like again, I can't tell you how fun it was to work with the team over Airtel, our team here, and now going to you know, I go to a lot of trade shows still myself, and I have another guy that's not only is he using it for the ice, but he's telling me how he likes to put his entire merchandisers right in there. So he rolls the whole merchandiser right in there, and then does multiple drops and picks up the empty ones and then delivers them. And they're still cold. Like, because if you unplug the trailer, it's gonna the R value is so high. As long as you open that door and introduce heat, that those merchandise are gonna hold all that ice at that temperature for, I mean, you could run
Yeah.
that thing for 10 hours, you know? So, just a lot of different avenues now, and, the more people we talk to, they're just really buying into it. So safety, labor, security with, you know, with trailers, you know, it's always a security issue with trailers being, a little bit more liable for theft, but lowering that thing to the ground removes that completely too. So, we're still learning a lot, you know,
Yeah.
about different
Yeah.
markets and how they're gonna handle this product, but, it's been fun.
Well, one of the things that comes to mind for me, specifically for ice manufacturers, ice deliverers. I was on an industry call just yesterday with a group that's trying to talk about best practices and in distribution. And one of the things that they wrestle with is how often does my driver need a driver helper that's the young buck that can handle
Yeah.
all the heavy lifting, and this would kind of change
Yeah.
the
Alleviate
equation
it.
a
Yeah.
little bit, right? So I think it could be a game changer for folks like that. Um, Rob, I don't know if you're familiar with our icebreaker questions, but we like to throw an icebreaker in here and there where we ask you something that's completely off topic. So you guys are located in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mhm.
And I happened to be able to take a trip this summer to Indianapolis. It was the first time I actually spent some good time there and got to visit the Indianapolis 500 venue and walk the track and got to see Lucas Oil Stadium. Um, if I were to come back to Indiana, somewhere else, like maybe Fort Wayne, what's somewhere that you would say doesn't get enough visits that maybe we should take a look at?
I don't know if it doesn't get enough visits, but our downtown ballpark has just been a game changer for Fort Wayne. We've done a complete downtown renovation probably for the past 10 to 15 years, been a solid focus. It's a Fort Wayne Tin Caps minor league baseball team, but we have company tickets. So if you are in town, love to take you to a game.
There
Um,
you go.
Oh,
um,
Now, is
you
that
talk
for
about
all guests or
somebody,
just us too?
somebody might take.
Well, I'm
yeah.
just qualifying. I mean, is that just a perk of being hosts, or anybody listening?
Anybody.
Anyone listening, if you ever want to come to Fort Wayne, hit
Oh,
me up
wow.
because
Here we
we
go.
love to show people the city.
Wow.
It's a small town city, but it's got a big feel, and we love it here. But these games at the ballpark downtown, I mean, it's been a game changer for so many different things. But it's fun for all, you know, kids, adults, family. They've got college student nights. They've got all sorts of different things. But it's been a game changer for the city of Fort Wayne. And then one other thing I might say is our zoo is actually amazing. We've got an amazing Fort Wayne zoo here. Um, I think our city takes a lot of pride in it, and we still go today with our kids, even though they're getting older. It's still something fun to do. So, plenty to do in Fort Wayne. We got a great trail system. We got all sorts of things to do. So, I love getting people here, see our campus, our facility. Great hotels, phenomenal restaurants in the city. So, if you're ever near, yeah, I would absolutely entertain anyone
Yeah,
who wants to come to see us in Fort Wayne.
some good advice there. So, Jeff, do you want to tell the audience why you were in Indianapolis last year?
So my son does drum corps or did drum corps. And if you don't know what that is, don't be surprised. I didn't know about it until he started. It's like marching band Olympics. And
National champs, right?
yeah, last year he was on the Boston Crusaders. They won the whole thing. He got the gold
Nice.
medal,
Yeah,
and he's never doing it again because all you can go is down from there.
Right.
Um,
Go out on top, man. Go out
he,
on
that's
yeah,
right.
top.
That's
he
right.
he wants to do leadership one day, but it was such a cool experience to be able to watch that with him.
And the
And
year before, they were the first losers, right?
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So that was super cool. So maybe why don't you get us a picture? We'll throw out of Jaden there. So
Sure.
give him some flowers for being a national champ last year. So it
Yeah.
was a pretty
Now
cool
I've got
experience.
a question. Is that like a high school program, collegiate program? Like what exactly is that?
Good question. So they can start when they're in high school, but they go through, I think it's about 21 years old.
Okay.
There are some older groups that still do it kind of recreationally, but that competitive league is kind of straddles the end of high school and the beginning of college, and the big groups travel the whole country. So in his core, I think they went something like 80 days or 88 days traveling from Massachusetts to Texas to California, and they all collide in Indianapolis because I guess that's the
It's a
middle of the
huge
country.
commitment,
Yeah,
huge commitment,
yeah.
and and let's just say his son tans very well because he was yeah he can absorb the sun. Let's just say that. Well, Jeff, we are about out of time. We got through this on our nugget, but we do have a couple of things we want to bring up. I
Yeah.
do want to share, and then I want to wrap up. I do want to let everybody know that's listening that Polar King does a lot more than just trailers. We've talked a little bit. Rob's talked a little bit about that, but definitely go to their webpage, which we're going to show here in just a second because there's one thing I want to talk to, and then we'll have a wrap up question here in just a moment. But definitely take a look at their webpage. But Rob, what I wanted to talk about real quick was just showing the webpage here. We don't have time to show this on here, but I invite our guests to go to polarking.com and watch this video here. Grab your popcorn if you want a little over a minute, but it's very Game of Thrones kind of ish. So just watch this video that I just clicked on here. And again, we're not going to show that right now, but as it's just sitting there spinning for us, but I'm sure it's just our internet connection. But very well done. I love y'all's marketing. And since you're in the marketing team, kudos. You guys have done a really, really good job on that. But watch that video, guests, and take a look at that. But the question that I wanted to wrap up with you is, if someone's watching today, learning more, they can go to your webpage. I wanted to briefly ask you about like warranty on the trailers, and then you just tell them how they get in touch with you.
Can we do it one more time? I'm sorry, my phone rang. I probably
Yeah, no
turned it on.
worries, no worries.
Yeah, it didn't
I have it on busy.
it didn't
So
the
sorry.
audio didn't come through, but we could tell you were
So
distracted.
sorry.
Yeah, no,
That's
no, no,
okay.
no worries. We've talked to this several times. We even encouraged somebody to take a phone call, and they did. They did a work call on the podcast. So we're a working man's podcast here. No, what I was asking was, how did I wanted to know a little bit about warranty. So people, what does warranty look like on trailers like this? But how do they get in touch with you if they wanted to inquire or place an order?
Sure. So with in terms of the warranty, we start there. Our walk-in, we have what we believe to be the industry best warranty because of the structure. There's no panels, there's no metal system, there's a lot less maintenance and everything involved with our walk-ins. So we've got a 12-year structural warranty, and that's backed by a few other things with the refrigeration components as well. And then on the trailer side, um, people like to do some strange things with trailers. It's a little bit shorter in that regard, but it's bumper to bumper for 1 year. We cover anything and everything from the refrigeration side, axles, frame, you name it. But we just had our dealer conference. We have an annual dealer conference where we try to get all of our dealers into Fort Wayne. I told you I love to get people to Fort Wayne and just show them the town. So
Yeah.
it's always fun for us to do. Get 30 to 50 like-minded people trying to do the same thing. But we actually had some really good input from some of our dealers. So we're looking at potentially adding a little bit more of a longer term structural warranty on the trailer to you know, we really believe in our fiberglass exterior. So we're looking at doing a little bit longer exterior warranty on the product itself. And then the refrigeration would still be a 1 year warranty on that as well. So Always looking to make our product better. We love to get feedback from the industry. We certainly don't rest on our laurels.
Yeah, and on that note, we'll be looking to meet Rob sometime soon at a ice convention near you. So, uh,
Hopefully November, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'd love to shake your hand and meet you, and I'm sure folks would recognize you from seeing you on the Nugget here.
I
Uh,
appreciate it.
we appreciate your time, Rob. We appreciate the glimpse into something that can really help the industry. And we've been coming at you from the RouteMan Studios here at KCS headquarters in Pelham, Alabama. Uh, thank you, and have a good
Yeah.
day.
Thanks for
We
having me,
appreciate it,
guys.
Rob. Bye.
Appreciate it. Yep. Bye.